Hey guys, my name is Melody. I'm here with Jean Tang. She is from Market Smiths, and her panel is she's going to be actually doing a workshop at South by Southwest for copywriting. So I'm just here going to ask her a couple of questions. Let's just start off with your background. I know you've mentioned in some of your talks before that you were a travel reporter, you were a lawyer. So what is a little bit about you, and how did you get into writing?
Great question, Melody. So I think, it took me a little longer to find my calling than maybe people think is normal or something. I did. I became a lawyer first and discovered that I very much liked law school. Practicing law didn't give me the creativity that I was looking for. Then I went and became a travel, food, and film writer. It was a really, really fun, humorous job. It really helped me to hone my storytelling, my interviewing, and frankly, my copywriting abilities, even though I was writing for publications like the New York Times, which, copywriting publications. But it really helped me to build these skills, which I think are very, very transferable to copywriting. And then I basically took on a project with a big Fortune 500 company and started applying my skill set to storytelling, and figured I had this really rarefied skill and decided to start my company. So that's the long and short of it.
And so what are some of the skills that you learned as, in your other careers that you still use today?
So many. So as a lawyer, you really learn how to build a case, and you learn how to break down the points within anything that you're trying to prove to the reader in ways that you can lay them out, and you lay them out as objections, and then you resolve the objection, and in an order that's organized and consistent with how the human mind may process logic. The way that's done, the way you prioritize it, the way that you kind of work it through the way the brain works, it definitely is something I owe my degree and to my practice. And then the rest of it is kind of just all the interviewing, all the storytelling, and just the idea of writing. Not when you're like reading a newspaper story. I mean, typically it doesn't just say like this is everything about global warming. It takes an angle on it that's really sharp, really specific. And that's a skill that I learned really early on as a journalist, and something that, definitely taken through copywriting, because if you're writing a company, you're not reporting on a specific piece of news. It's really important to give context to the information and make it really, really sharply angled and very specific. And it really helps the reader go into the content, like it's like through the looking glass. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So I was actually reading an article lately that said a lot of journalists are getting into the marketing world, into the online marketing world, and becoming copywriters. Do you see that also?
Absolutely. Yeah, I see it. I see it every day in my company. I get approached by journalists who are at various points in their career, and they are curious about copywriting. I think it should be into a couple of things. The first thing is that, unfortunately, we have to close lots of news magazines and things like that. And even though it's matched by, somewhat proportionate opening of websites and online publications that are really exciting, they're just, as journalists, if you're not on staff somewhere, a regular correspondent or stringer, it is sometimes hard to make ends meet. If you're a freelancer, the opportunity shrank a little bit, and certainly in the commercial world. And the other trend is that the opportunity has grown massively with the arrival of social media, with the arrival of it being important to engage your customers and your client, in a real conversation. All those elements come from somewhere, come from having an opinion, having an idea, having something to say, and usually it's something to say on the web. So
yeah.
we have the flip one and the rest of another.
So I had to make that
Sure.
transition between being a journalist too and going into this kind of new industry. A lot of there's a lot of differences in between. So what is your advice on how journalists can make that transition? What do they need to know about the marketing industry and about copywriting before they get into it?
Well, I've been making comparisons between journalism and copywriting, and the truth of the matter is, of course, they're not the same thing. They're similar, draw upon skill sets. You always, as a writer that's speaking to a particular, vast audience, you need to be able to, be a good writer, which means being organized, being able to express powerful thoughts, choose powerful words, and not be wordy about it. In a nutshell, organize your thoughts so that, they unfold in a logical sequence. All of those are similar. The storytelling ability I like to use very, very sparely, because I think a lot of people give a lot of press to story and how important it is these days. As a copywriter, what's more important than story is actually to set a sense of context, to define the context of where the reader, whatever they're reading about, what context it's in is really important. So defining that's really crucial. The difference are perhaps more subtle than a lot of people, give it. Obviously, the copywriter, you're not, a lot of, like you'll read a newspaper feature and it'll be very balanced in terms of the pros and cons of something. For a copywriter, you don't typically put down the cons of of hiring, a company or buying a company's products. So it does come from a very, very, specific viewpoint, which is, typically more salesy. The nuance is similar, and that's where I think a lot of people get tripped up. They're used to reading maybe very salesy copy, maybe very overpowering copy, and I think that it should be extremely nuanced. The more nuanced it is, the higher your credibility. But yeah, so the differences are in tone, in the way you present the subject matter. Certainly, also copy should always strive to be super, super short. As a writer, I don't believe in bombarding anyone with words. And on the other hand, you could read a New Yorker article or a New York Times Magazine article that could go on for 5,000 very, very justifiable words. But of course, there's always business books and business white papers and business ebooks and things like that. And obviously, when you get into media or subject matter like that, the content is longer. But, if it's for the web, for digital consumption, it should be short and very contained.
Definitely. Thank you for that advice. That was great. So on your website, you say that your business finds a business's true story and then gives it a memorizing spin. So what is the process of writing content for these businesses? Obviously you're interviewing them or some sort of thing like that to find their story.
Yeah, just do me a favor and tell me what page that's under so I know the context of it.
I think it's on your FAQ page.
Oh, okay. To give something a mesmerizing spin. Yeah, so we always start by interviewing our clients. It's something I also recommend in my TED Talk where, I recommend that, if somebody is writing for themselves, they could interview themselves, which is, not entirely easy, but you can always, pretend and role play a little bit. But so the idea is that you want to extract deep enough information that you can channel in this case, our client being the company that hired us to write for them. But you don't want to go so deep that you kind of get into the weeds. You kind of get into the features, all the kind of the details of working, with this company and all the things they bring to the table. Because then you kind of tend to just get clouded. What you're doing is you're interviewing the client in the interest, you're interviewing them like a buyer, like a customer. You're interviewing them for the little nuggets that customers will care about. If you're at all shopper, I certainly love to shop, you know what you're looking for, right? You're shooting for a camera. So you're like, okay, how many megapixels does that camera have? What's the shutter speed? What's the range? What's the flashlight? Like all the things that you're looking for. And so similar to that, you would interview your clients with the mindset of a shopper. So you go as deep as you need to, but without going too deep to lose perspective. And you also stay at the level of like what a reader would care about. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, thank you. And so I think the web has kind of made it easier for anybody to write. Do you have that same opinion? And do you think that the quality of copywriting has gone down now that really anybody can put things on the web?
Certainly I think that, our company is fighting against that. I don't know. I don't feel qualified to exactly weigh in on whether the quality has gone down or it's gone up. I will say that, the way a lot of websites and a lot of blogs are written, because companies know that it's important to get content out there, to publish it so that they can establish themselves as an authority, and something completely sort of unrelated to, actual worth. They also obviously wanted to establish themselves with Google as something that's findable, searchable, like a known entity, which is really important. I'm not downplaying the importance, but unfortunately, and more Google's making that tighter and more related to the quality of the copy, which is wonderful for all of us. But yeah, I don't know in terms of whether it's gone up or gone down in quality. I mean, we probably have a little bit of both, right?
Yeah.
More bad quality and more good quality. But when I look at a lot of websites, there are a lot of mistakes I feel like are very, very common things that happen just like almost like automatically, where, and I talk about this in my TED Talk, but the fact that a lot of companies will just come out of the gate talking about themselves. It's very self-absorbed. They'll say, we are, such and such, and we do this. And I'm like, have you considered you're defining yourself, but have you considered where the reader's actually coming from? There are also definitely plenty of examples of blogs out there that sort of go on, and they're kind of just, not, very well organized, and maybe they're wordier than they need to be. And so you see a lot of stuff out there that's really, really common. The more great writing there is out there, the more people like you are producing, people like us, the more we hope to really elevate the vision of writing out there so that the tolerance level for society changes and it becomes more of a demand and a requirement. So that's what we're hoping to do.
Great. So at South by Southwest, you suggest on your panel list to bring copy to the workshop. So what should people expect from your workshop, and what do you hope that they get out of it?
Well, the workshop is being designed as very much, rather than like me and my team members speaking to the group of participants, it's very much designed as a one-to-one, intimate, hands-on, interactive workshop, where people can bring any writing project they're working on, not limited to copy. It could be a fictional project they're working on. We actually have our CMO is a fiction writer, so that's really exciting. But it could be any copy project or any writing project that they have. And we will have a sign-up sheet, and we'll see how many people we get. But right now we're planning on making it 10 to 15-minute increments, so that each of us will get a chance to sit down with each person. Or rather, each person will get a chance to sit down with one of us, and talk about what they're struggling with, or maybe they're just, maybe they have to write on a regular basis. Maybe they're a blogger for their company and they're looking for general advice. Preferably, we would have something to look at so we could just scan it and see, okay, so here are some clear issues, and then we can give them a takeaway. But yeah, that's the plan right now, is to make it really intimate and really hands-on.
Great. I look forward to seeing you there, hopefully.
Great. Well, yeah, we look forward to seeing you too, and hopefully some of your readers will come as well.
Awesome.